Now, but Joanne Fun clear from Lucky Nine, scoring hand and Sunny King, but today's the day. Joanne Fun from Brett Doyle beats Lucky Nine and Sunny King.
So Derek, welcome back to Royal Ascot with Giant Fun. Now, we obviously saw that victory, which was over 6 runs. Why have you primarily decided that the King Stands is the option for your horse this year?
Good morning. I think just get away from Black Caviar. Yeah.
As simple as that, the
Yes.
Black Caviar factor.
Yes, I think she's a very smart horse, and she just win again. Yeah.
And obviously we've just been hearing from Chris about the ground, suggesting we might have slightly easy ground this year. Is that going to be a worry for your horse?
Yes, actually my horse really likes the firmest track, you know, good to firm, you know, it's a lot better. But you know, the track, if it's just maybe a little bit on the soft side, yielding or something, he could handle it, yes.
And for you, obviously, you're taking on Hortensia again, and you finished third in Dubai. Were you feeling confident now that you could reverse the placings on Tuesday?
Well, racing is always hard to say, but we were very lucky in Dubai when our horse like half missed the start a little bit and got back a little bit. Where if you got to jump properly, I think Brad Doyle would like to have a little sit on him before he produces him in the last 100 meters or something like that, you know. So it'll be a very close race again. I hope my horse can run well, yeah.
And is there any chance that if your horse does run well, that you will double up and take on Black Caviar in the Diamond Jubilee?
Well, I don't know about doubling up. I like to see each race at a time, you know. I got him down to run the July Cup, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens on Royal Ascot Day.
So the July Cup is on the agenda as a...
It is on if he runs well, yes. So,
but you're feeling at this stage the horse is confident that all systems go for Tuesday, looking confident? Yeah,
I put a leg in this morning in slow work. He seems to be striding out very well, and you know, he's got acclimatized to England now very well, and you know, I'm hopeful he'll be definitely running a good race.
Derek, for now, thank you very much. Now you're thinking of the King's Stand Stakes, presumably. You say a bit like Derek, is it the Black Caviar factor, or what's your thinking for the King's Stand?
First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Jockey Cup, BBA, RRP, and the owner. He gave me a chance to hear. I come here because England is a great traditional country for horse racing. And all we know, Royal Ascot is so classic. I run 1,000 meters because he's good at 1,000 meters straight. And because since he came to Hong Kong, he only run on the right-hand side direction when they turn the bend, and also straight. So I put him to the straight. I hope he can handle the track, and also I hope he can run a good race for me and for my owner.
And how is the horse at the moment in the build-up to next week?
He is pretty strong, but you know, this is his first trip. He's never been travel since from New Zealand to Hong Kong. It's a long trip for him, but he acclimatized very fast. He will be better, I think, when on the race day. I think he will be spot on.
And obviously, the ground is going to be more of an issue this year, so when you've just heard what Chris had to say, what was your thoughts on the potential of slightly soft ground?
So I have not much idea about the ground, and you know, it's very hard to compare because Hong Kong's the track usually is good to firm, but here people I have some ideas. People told me, so I would like to walk the track on Monday with my jockey and my owner. So on Monday maybe we have some idea.
Well, no, obviously I don't want to cause a diplomatic fallout between you two, but obviously, do you think you can turn the placings on Giant Fun as we saw in the first video? Are you feeling confident that you can do that?
At that run I run 6 because I make a mistake. I put the blinkers on him. His sim doesn't let the blinkers on. So after we took off his blinkers, he went much better.
Derek, do you think you can make sure without you're going to beat your compatriots?
Well, there's a lot of tired horses in those two races, and the best horses are not running there, you know, actually. It's just only his horse, Little Bridge, running there. Yeah, it wasn't a strong field, actually.
Okay, and obviously you've got some hot competition next year as well. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it's going to be, well, gentlemen, for the time being, thank you very much. Well, moving on now to our visitor from Bahrain. And beating Rocket Man is no mean feat. So how confident were you going into that race that you could win that one, which looks such a competitive race on paper?
Well, I'll have to say we were confident for a good run, but to win so easily or in such a fashion was a bit of a surprise for us.
And so it was a surprise, but then you went to Singapore and things didn't quite work out as well as you would like. Explain the thinking behind that.
Yeah, I think obviously what we've seen in Singapore is not the best of Crypto Factor. That's probably due to a couple of things. One, he didn't travel as well as he did to here. And the second being the ground. The ground turned out to be pretty soft on race day, which he absolutely didn't enjoy.
And obviously, there's been quite a lot of rain. Has that been frustrating? Is that giving you cause for concern?
Unfortunately, yes. We've come to a wet country here, but we're hoping on a nice, summer week next week. And I'm told Ascot rains very well, and as we've heard from Chris, hopefully the ground will be in good shape.
And obviously he's run extremely well on, as we saw there, the Tapita at Meydan and throughout the winter there in Dubai. On the turf, does that give you more concern, or do you feel that if you get the right conditions he can cope on anything?
Well, we still have to see him perform on the turf at this level. He has performed on the turf quite well as a 2-year-old when he was with Sir Mark Prescott. And he hasn't disgraced himself in Dubai on that turf either. But obviously, at this level, it's a different scenario.
Excited about the prospect, full stop.
Well, absolutely, yes, of course.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we've got black caviar in our race.
Well, I realise that, but do you? I mean, are you thinking you running for second, or what are you thinking? Do you think?
Well, I keep being reminded that we are running for second spot.
But do you see it like that, or are you?
Well, black caviar is obviously a very good filly, so 21 out of 21. So it'll take a hell of a horse to beat her, that's for sure.
Best of luck anyway. Thank you very much, Fawzi, for the time being. How do you compare your horses and your prospects coming into this particular week?
Yeah, this is a totally different situation, very different horse. Probably more of a 5 and 6 furlong type horse, whereas Alberta was probably more of a 1400 metre horse. But in Australia, that's probably the right horse to bring over here for a July Cup or a Diamond Jubilee.
And obviously, the horse ran, as you say, ran extremely well then in the Dali July Cup. Didn't have quite the preparation you'd like then, but this time, how's it all gone? And you came over quite early as well.
Yeah, no, we decided this time to get here as early as we could. We had a lot of trouble travelling last time. I think it's well documented. Our horse lost a lot of weight. And this time we wanted to be sure to get here early, settle in and get her acclimatised and give ourselves every chance.
Did she lose any weight, and is she in tip-top condition as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, no, she travelled brilliantly from Dubai to here, and I think breaking up the trip really helped as well, and she's in top order.
And obviously, looking at the ground, I know that might be a little bit more of a concern. I had the privilege of sitting next to you last night, and definitely the ground seemed to be a concern.
Yeah, it is a bit of a concern. Listen, she's got mixed form, I think, on rain-affected tracks, but she's definitely better on top of the ground, there's no doubt. And she does have a devastating turn of foot, as you've seen her when she's right. And, that slow ground might just take away a bit of that dash. And
obviously, how do you assess the form? Because I know you've looked at it closely, and you've obviously seen with Joanne Fan and the others that are lining up. Are you feeling reasonably confident?
Yeah, I am. I think if it was a dry track, I'd be feeling confident. But it's going to be a very tough race, obviously, with Black Caviar running. A lot of the field is, I guess, a lot of the competition's increased, and in saying that, a lot of the favourites also want firm ground. So a few of us are all in the same boat. I'm sure these guys would be keener on firm ground, as would Soul Power. So I'd say 4 or 5 of the liked horses would prefer firm ground, and therefore it's going to be open.
And would you, if it runs well, think about taking on Black Caviar?
Yeah, I would. If the circumstances were right. She came through obviously the horse's welfare is number one. If she came through the race well and the weather was fine on Saturday, I'd certainly consider it.
Okay, well, you won with Autentia at Ascot in Perth. How do the two Ascots compare?
Very different, very different.
For people who don't know, explain the difference.
It's the dress code's certainly very different anyway.
So you will be wearing your top hat and tail next week, not
Absolutely. You get in there with shorts and thongs, I'd say.
Thongs? Ding dong.
Different type of thongs. Yeah, flip-flops, sorry. Should make that clear.
Lost in translation then, obviously. This time last year, you announced, or it was announced, that Black Caviar would be coming to Royal Ascot this year. When finally did you press the button that you'd send the horse over here?
Yeah, I think it was probably January, February this year, things started to fall into place to be here. And since then, everything's gone perfectly to plan. The 2 Adelaide wins, they were the perfect races to put the lead up into to get her here. And then the 3 gallops in the past fortnight in Melbourne. She's here, rock hard, fit, ready to go at the Homer racing.
Was it a hard decision when you were having the meetings at the early part of the year, or was it in the end a fairly simple discussion to be had?
In the end it was pretty simple, but we never let Pete make decisions lightly. We sat him down and forced him to write out a map that suited him, and it would allow him to train her to get her here in the shape that she's turned up in. And he put it all down on paper, he put it to us, we put it to the owners, and everyone was happy and signed off on it.
And that presumably meant the reason why Dubai didn't happen, because obviously there was at some stage talk that you would have gone to the Dubai World Cup meeting.
Yeah, well, the owners, it was their wish to be here, and we thought the best way to get her here to win for them was to maybe dodge that race and keep her at home and give her that build-up without the risk of having a drawn-out long trip, and not have so many things in our control when we can travel, when we can't, the tracks we want to use. That all came into effect.
Obviously we know, and we can see from that footage, that she is adored by everyone, but just give us, perhaps for people who haven't experienced, the sense of the sort of the Black Caviar phenomenon in Australia, in the way that the country seems to have taken to her, because football matches have been changed so that they can show her racing. I mean, it's extraordinary the level of interest in her.
Yeah, that was good. She got a football game moved back, which I don't think that would happen here in the FA. She interrupted a Grand Slam tennis tournament one night so they could show the race. Literally, since she's grown wings, everything else has with her as well. The fan base she's got, I was talking to the boys this morning, we get countless emails and pictures of 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids drawing her and sending us their pictures. It's just phenomenal.
And how easy is it that to sort of manage, and the pressure that puts you under?
We've got the right things in place to manage that. About 18 months ago, we took a few steps that would allow our stable to mainly train her, and everything else would be taken away from us, such as all the extra pressure that goes with all that. We don't have to deal with a lot of the stuff. We just want to train the horse and have her turn up on race day and have her 100% ready to win for her fans. And
since you've come over here, we obviously saw pictures in the lycra suit or whatever it is. Obviously people have seen her this morning, and it seems to have settled in well as far as you're concerned.
She has. She's been here close to a week now. I think Peter's arriving in the next 24 hours, but the boys here, Tony and Pat, they've done an outstanding job taking over from the team at home at Caulfield. They've just taken over and got her here, and full credit to them. They've done a magnificent job. This was always going to be half the battle, getting a horse that we've never travelled over here and have her settle in without any complications, and now we can give her her last lead up into the race.
And how nervous are you about next week? Because obviously first run outside Australia, so much expectation on her shoulders.
It does get a little bit like that, the pressure. Things can only go wrong. That's the way we look at it. And if we can take everything that's in our control and cover that, well then if something does go wrong, if it's out of our control, we've done our best. If she's beaten, she's beaten, but we're not here to be beaten, that's for sure.
And the ground, is that something that could go wrong? If it's very soft, what would you like to see?
I don't think so. We'd prefer a good grounding like any good sprinters. They probably all want good ground. We've only ever thought about taking her out of a race once, and that was in the Newmarket at Flemington 2010, when she was top weight in a handicap, and it meant a lot to us that day. And there was a risk if the track was wet, we would probably pull her out. But now, every race, special conditions, set weights, that sort of thing, she's not giving away an advantage, so that's not going to enter our plans at the moment. We won't be using that as an excuse if she's beaten on wet ground.
But all systems go, and you can feel it over here even now. I mean, the excitement is building to her appearance over here.
Yeah, I guess like this is a lot of racing media here, but the non-racing media that have wanted to get involved, that's outstanding. In a year where you've got the Olympic Games, you know, this is a great lead-up. We're putting racing on the front pages and taking advantage of that.
Jeff, thank you. And now chance for questions from the floor. Just Becky and Olivia will run around with the microphones. As I say, just please say your name and from where you're from if you have any questions. My goodness me. At the front.
Thanks, Becky. Steve Moran from Melbourne. Rupert, I'm just wondering if the guys could all just confirm their riders and when they arrive.
First, Steve. Luke Nolan, obviously. I think he's planning to arrive on Monday to have a sit on the mare in the last few days leading up to the race.
Craig Williams, he arrives on Monday. He won't sit on the horse before the race, but arrives Monday. He's obviously contracted in Japan, and he'll just be here for, I think, Tuesday.
Kieran Fallon, probably riding.
Set with the... Yeah.
Does he come in?
He come on Monday morning, so we walk on the track on Monday afternoon.
Brad Doyle, he's in Newmarket. He's here, yeah.
Has he been riding over in the morning? Or?
No, he doesn't need to ride it.
Any more questions? Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Oh, sorry, there is a question. Take the at the front.
Jeff, Nicole Jeffrey from The Australian. You said that getting a deer in good shape is half the battle. What's the rest of the battle?
The race. Just nothing going wrong in the race. We've all seen a lot of racing. Jockeys can fall off, horses can fall, anything can go wrong. Your barrier might open a touch late. Anything can go wrong in racing. That's out of your control. We don't want to think about things like that, but that's the 1%ers that you're always nervous and worried about.
Hi there, Gina Bryce from Real UK. Somebody mentioned to me yesterday that Black Caviar were running some barrier trials, and one of which was on pretty heavy ground. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that's always been in the back of our minds, that she did have that experience that day, and she went super, ran great time. It was on a very heavy track down at Cranbourne in the south of Melbourne, and because of that we've always been confident that she would cope with soft ground, although we've never had to run her on it. Every time she's ran, she's normally brought the good weather with her, so hopefully we'll get the same again next week.
Any more? Well, thank you very much all for coming. Thank you in particular to our panellists this morning, and wish you all the best of luck for next week in your chosen races, and I'm sure it's going to be a very, very memorable Diamond Jubilee Royal Ascot. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.